Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. I'm so excited today. Today is November 30th, Monday, approximately 5:19 p.m. For those who are going to be looking at this at a later date. But at any rate, I'm excited to present a very special guest, Erika Birdie Shavers. And I'm going to read this amazing bio of hers. Erika Birdie Shavers is known as Birdie because she loves the game of golf. A native Chicagoan, Erika is currently the volunteer coordinator and assistant program director for an international junior golf organization. Her story is remarkable because of how her passion for the game of golf became the lifeline, she used to pull herself through financial hardship perpetuated by the real estate recession that began in 2007. And this is so interesting that, that happened in 2007. Here we have another recession with another tragedy. And Erika has come out on the other side on top, full circle. Erika is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Erika serves as an honorary member of the South Shore Ladies Golf League and was previously a member of the Women's Golf Club Columbus Park. She is also the founder of Ladies on the Green Golf League. Her most recent accomplishment is the creation of Swing Easy Golf. Check her business out. And I guess I will, in the show notes for this show, I'll put her business information. Erika has taught close to 100 clients in her spare time, and for the past 7 seasons has enjoyed being a CPS, Chicago Public Schools, high school golf coach. The next step in her progression is to become an LPGA certified golf instructor. How exciting is that? So welcome, Erika.
Hi, Tanasia. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you
for having me.
Thank you for joining me. So I would please, I gave you an introduction, but I'd like you to go ahead and just give a brief synopsis of your story in your own words. If you could just tell us a little bit more about you without giving away too much of what is in this absolutely, let me show it, amazing book. Let's see if you can see that. Okay, yes. So I've been reading this, A Purpose-Driven Woman. Okay, my lighting. Let me see if I can turn this down. Okay, there you go. Now you can probably see it. Okay, so I've been reading this and rereading it. And as you can see, I've been let's see if you can see that, highlighting and marking it up because I'm really getting into it. So yeah, please tell your story, Erika. I'll let you have the floor for a few minutes. And yeah, I'm interested to know, and I'm sure my audience is interested to know more about you.
Well, thank you, Tanasia, for having me on your show. Tanasia is just a really good spirit. I just, thank you for the introduction. I'm also a client.
Yeah.
She does a really good job at making me look good on those days where I'm not looking so hot. So she's a great hairstylist, very knowledgeable about hair care and just self-care. I think that's why you and I connect so well. We just talk about how we, on purpose, uplift ourselves to get through, transitions in life. And that's basically what I had to do during that time was, figure out how I could get through a difficult time without falling into a deep depression or causing any harm to myself. And I think that we all have struggles in life, no matter what they may be. It's about how you come out on the other side that really makes a difference. And I think for me, not knowing what journey I was going to be traveling on during that time, I'm happy to know that golf has played a major role in that success. I'm a native Chicagoan, as my bio says. I'm the oldest of 3. I have 2 younger brothers. My mom is still with us. My dad is deceased. He died a few years ago. And, I've lived in Chicago all of my life. And my first real passion in life, however, was real estate. And so I bought houses, I rehabbed property, I was a landlord. My first business I started was a property management company where I would manage real estate. And I did that for a good part of, 10, 12 years, and been in the real estate industry for about 25 plus years. So I was really passionate about it. I enjoy taking a property and turning it to something nice and beautiful for someone to live in and rent, and passive income is pretty good, during that time. So in terms of sports, I never really got into too many sports other than maybe a little bit of softball as an adult. I played some tennis, and I ran track in grade school. So sports played, somewhat of a part of my life, but not at the level of golf. Golf took on a whole nother meaning. And I talk a little bit about that in the Purpose Driven Woman. But yeah, my story is not unique to many others. I fell on hard times back in 2007 during the recession. And, it just kind of came out of nowhere, as did the entire real estate crash. And it just kind of took me by surprise. And I found myself, knee deep in debt. I was downsized from my job, and I had a tremendous loss of income in the real estate market, which caused me to lose everything. And it was very disheartening. When you think that you're on the top of the world and you're successful and you're doing all the things that you dreamed of doing, and that just came all crashing down on me at one time. And it was very devastating and humbling experience for me. So when Felicia Shakespeare, who is the primary author of this book, asked me to share my story, I was, a little reluctant at first, because I'm just experiencing life. I didn't think it was anything to share with anybody or a story to have published. But then I thought about it, and from the encouragement of other friends and colleagues and family members, I decided to go ahead and do it. So I'm happy to know that you were inspired by the story, as well as there's 13 other stories in this book that are remarkable as well. And so I encourage you all to, if you haven't purchased it, it would be a great stocking stuffer to get for yourself or for someone else who's looking for answers. I think, the 14 stories in this book shares a lot of insight on how to handle depression, how to handle just financial setbacks. Helps you to encourage, to build your confidence. So there's a lot of, similar experiences in here that I think people would certainly learn from.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, and it's interesting. I'm so glad that you mentioned that this could be a potentially excellent stocking stuffer with the holidays coming up. Something that people can read to combat depression and frustration and anxiety and be inspired. And we kind of need that because there's so much inspiration on television and on the news.
Yeah.
You and I talked about that the other day. And I was, interestingly enough, I was just looking at some article or a video that referenced several articles about how watching television does something to like your frontal lobe, the area of your brain that's responsible for like decision making and faith and morality and reason. And watching TV turns that off and makes you kind of zombie-like, whereas picking up a great book like this does the exact opposite and can help you get more connected with your purpose.
Yes.
So that's great. I'd like to maybe ask you, because you kind of covered my next question was, why you decided to do this. What was your motivation? You kind of covered that, but I do have a quotation that, a couple of quotations, 1, 2, 3, it's like 5 of them that really stood out to me. So I'm going to see if I can put that on screen and ask you to comment on what you were thinking when you wrote this, expound upon it. You wrote, I literally had to learn to be patient with life's lessons and wait to see what the Lord had in store for me. Tell us more about what you were thinking and feeling when you wrote that.
Well, part of what I was thinking, Tanasia, was, age had been a major factor for me. I was 44 years old when this all took place. And and I'm sure you can attest to this. You're thinking that you should be at a certain place at a certain age, right? Go to school, go to college, get married if you wish, or have kids or whatever, buy that house, have this career. And so when that all came crashing down, I had to step back and take a look at where I was in life and be patient with the fact that this happened, right? Because there's nothing I can do about it at this point. It's out of my hands, it's out of my control. And rather than try to find some quick fix, how am I going to make my money back in 2 or 3 years, or how I'm going to get my home back or something like that. I kind of just had to let God take the reins and lead me and guide me and show me the way. And so I had to be patient with that. And that's why I connected so well with golf, because you have to be patient in learning the game. You have to be patient and to get better in learning the game. So I think that resonated with me most, is how to be patient with life's lessons. Take a step back, learn from it. What mistakes did I make so that I don't make the same mistakes again? Because I will get through it at some point. It's just going to take time.
Okay, excellent point. The patience, something that is a little bit challenging to come by in this microwave society that we live in. Even in the midst of this pandemic, it seems that people want everything to go back to normal tomorrow, and not being patient. And golf, which is something that I'm not familiar with at all. However, I'm interested in maybe learning that, and maybe my audience can hold me to it. I'm going to get with Erika about teaching me how to play in the next year or so. Once we can, do everything safely, probably do something outside. So we're, properly ventilating, social distancing, all of that to be safe with, minimizing the spread. But at any rate, teaching patience in the game of golf. You work with young people. Is that challenging to teach it with them? What strategies do you find yourself using to help to communicate to them to, okay, breathe, stop, slow it down. Let's get through this. Let's learn. Let's take our time with this. Talk to me about working with the youth and how that's been.
So I'm not going to say it's not challenging. I'm not going to say that. No matter how many degrees of patience I have with young people, it can be challenging, because you're dealing with different personalities, and you're dealing with different backgrounds, and you're dealing with different types of people. And so I need to tailor how I teach and meet the person where they are, right? So kids, for example, even with adults, you have to make it fun. You have to make it fun. You have to make the learning process enjoyable, because it does take time, and it does require a lot of patience and a lot of perseverance. I think I talk about that in the book too, about how I had to persevere and not be down on myself just because I didn't catch on as quickly as I would have liked, right? So I think making it fun, engaging my client or my student in a way that they are receptive to learning, I think makes a difference in how you teach, and how they receive what it is that you're teaching.
Absolutely. And that's a great segue to my next quotation that I'm going to show that really grabbed me from your book. All of us possess a talent, skill, or passion that can be turned into a career or business, which is, it sounds to me, again, in this environment where so many are just kind of taught to, go to school, get a job, work 40 years, retire, and I don't know, just ride off to pasture, off into the sunset. A very uninteresting, existence. Not in what you're talking about is teaching young people, teaching your students how to live a life. Talk more about that, about how you are really good at pulling talent, skill, and passion out of people. Talk about that.
Well, I pretty much had to do that for myself. Pulling it out of other people just is happenstance. If it happens, great. But for me, I had to do that for myself. When I was passionate about real estate, I was selling real estate. I was in the mortgage business, and how it became a passion was purchasing property, fixing it up, and either selling it or holding on to it for income. And so it just became something that I enjoyed doing. I enjoyed investing in real estate. I enjoyed rehabbing and fixing up properties and renting them out to tenants that needed a place to live. So to me, it was enjoyment. And I did it for a very long time. The same with mortgages, teaching people, first-time home buyers, about credit, and how to, sustain their credit and become a first-time home buyer. I enjoyed doing that. So to me, it became a career because of my enjoyment. Now, yes, it's a job. I get paid, having insurance and that kind of thing. It's a way to navigate through life. But I feel that I like to enjoy what it is I'm doing if I'm going to be spending 80% of my time doing it every day. And nothing to take away from those early years when you're just starting out, and those social skills and those soft skills. That's important, even if it's in an environment that you don't really care for. But once you uncover what it is that you enjoy, your talent or your skill, I think you can do anything. I'm a big fan of entrepreneurship. I love what I see in the marketplace right now. People just taking what it is that they enjoy and they're turning it into a business, whether it's a hair salon or a fitness center, or health and wellness is a real big one. I think that, a flower shop or design, web design. There's just so many talented people in the world right now. Dance, music. I mean, you name it, there's someone out there that's passionate about it and can turn it into a career or business.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that is that kind of falls in line with another quote from your book, where you talk about taking a leap of faith and facing fear with courage and determination. What's really great about this pandemic is that I've seen some amazing ideas just kind of take off. And you would think that in the midst of a pandemic, that people would be so afraid and so, just nervous about trying something new or doing something. And yet they've been reinventing themselves or doing it. What do you think that is? Is that human spirit? What is that creates that?
Well, I think we have technology is providing a resource for us to observe and do research, right? So if you see someone like you doing something that you have maybe had an interest in, and you see that they're doing it, it's a way for it to inspire you, right? So I think, now, versus just, thumbing through a magazine, which I did a lot of growing up. I would read Black Enterprise magazine, Ebony Jet, to see Black people doing things to inspire me to want to, continue with my education and to become whatever it is that I wanted to become. So I think we have more access, young people have more access to see different career opportunities, different ideas that they could potentially do for themselves. So I think, taking that leap of faith, I mean, you have to face fear if you want to, take on a challenge. You got to face it face to face in order for you to take that first step. So.
Yes, that is a great point. And you make a great point about how technology has empowered us to be able to make connections that we didn't used to be able to do instantaneously. I mean, this connection is something that we probably could not have done 20 years ago.
Right.
The way we're doing this, instantaneously recording this interview. all of the Zoom meetings that I've been on, all of the Facebook lives that I've been on. Now, you know, there may be some downsides to, you know, not being able to touch each other, but with this type of technology, you're able to quickly and more efficiently connect with people of like mind.
Yes.
And so this gets to one other quote I had. Okay, it was about you. Oh, yes. Okay. You said in your book, my advice to anyone struggling with fear is to surround yourself with people that really believe in you and your vision. And I feel like now with the pandemic, I've been able to connect with more people who share my idea, my mission, my vision for perseverance, building generational wealth, creating something great. Talk about people who, maybe couple of people that you can mention that you connected with who are on the same page as you are with helping people to get into their purpose.
So during that time, one of the books that resonated with me way before this time, I was in my early 20s, was Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking. And, I think that's that book in particular, I think, is what helped me navigate through my transition, right? Because I've always seen the glass half full. No matter the circumstance, no matter the situation, no matter the fact that I had to move back home with my mom and put all my stuff in storage, the glass was still half full. And so part of making sure that I was able to get through that time was making sure I surrounded myself around some positive people. Laughter played a major role in helping me to get through that. My family were the corniest people on the block. And I tell you, there wasn't a day that went by during that period that I didn't share in some form of laughter. Not knowing where my next dollar was going to come from, not knowing if I was going to get out of this situation and be back on my own and established. So to me, surrounding yourself around not only God, God, we're not going to keep God out of this picture. God played a major role, prayer, meditation, all those things played a major role in me keeping myself and my spirits lifted, especially on those down days. But good friends and positive people, and even just listening to positive recordings and reading positive books, and staying in worship just really helped to see that this wasn't an end all be all, that eventually I was going to get past this thing. This is a test, it was just a test. And I think I, still passing it. I'm not all the way completely out of the water. Every day I'm still working towards, achieving, my goals and putting myself in a position to, be able to take care of myself and my family. So.
Yeah, you mentioned some of those down times. We sometimes don't like to talk about those, but there was one time in your book where you talked about a mentor who gave you some really sound advice, but you didn't necessarily want to hear that. Talk about that a little bit, because sometimes we have trouble listening to people who are more senior or more experienced than we are, people who we know are giving sound advice, but we just are all in our feelings. Talk about having those type of valuable mentors in your corner who tell you what you need to hear, even if it's not something that you necessarily want to hear.
Yeah, well, that's just the old saying, a hard head makes a soft behind. That's basically what that was. I mean, I guess it also depends on where the advice comes from, right? You have advice that's coming from people that, want to see you succeed. And then you have advice coming from people that, maybe envious or hating or whatever. And so, or just afraid, right? And they don't want to see you fail. So, but I guess it just really depends. But then at the end of the day, if you make the decision, if it's your choice and you do it anyway, then you just have to deal with the circumstances. And I'm okay with, making mistakes. playing the game of golf, you make mistakes. Sometimes the ball lands in the fairway, sometimes it lands in the water, and it's all about how you recover from it. So I don't beat myself up anymore about it. You know, it was a valuable lesson, and you know, I pretty much got through it for the most part. But now I listen more closely. Now I pray about things a little bit more than just rushing into making a decision. And you know, meditation helps to me to have clarity, you know, in making decisions. So, but yeah, if someone gives me advice now, I'll look at it, I'll analyze it, and as long as I know it's coming from the heart and not a place of fear, then you know, I you know, I take a little closer look at that.
And that's a good point too, Erika, about prayer and meditation, because when you're really intentional about that, about your spiritual walk, God will bless you with a discernment so that you know when the advice is coming from a good place. You can kind of feel it in your gut. You can distinguish between the haterade, you know, as they say, and someone who genuinely cares about you and, you know, really wants to see you succeed. And I have to share with the audience that the point that Erika made about the value of laughter. Erika has brought more laughter to me and my coworkers at the salon than probably all of my clientele. She is definitely a bright spot in our day, and we are grateful for that. And every time she leaves, we are talking about her in a good way after she leaves. Let me say this, Erika, too, about you. So even when, you know, one of the challenges with, you know, being a hairstylist, having a business is scheduling with clients and so forth. And there were times, because Erika's schedule has been so crazy and so busy, where she would last minute schedule me or try to. And even though you were last minute, you would, you know, give me this last minute thing, Erika, I would go out of my way to fit you in because I knew that you would make that appointment a little bit more enjoyable. So with your last minute, and we would talk about you too. You know, Sean, one of the coworkers, she would say, "Yeah, that Erika trying to schedule at the last minute. Yeah, here she is again. Yeah." And we just work on fitting you in because we know that we're going to be smiling, we're going to be happy, we're going to be more fulfilled that day when you come. So thank you for that. So anyway, I digress. So, you know, we're at 27 minutes. I wanted to keep this to about a half an hour to keep the audience engaged. I highly recommend, let me get this on camera. Let me turn it. This book, A Purpose-Driven Woman. And yeah, Felicia, she put it together, but Erika is one of the co-authors. Excellent stocking stuffer for the holiday season. Is there anything else that you want to share about your story, Erika? I know that you have a book signing, or wait, are we going to be able to do the book signing with the, you know, with the different restrictions? Talk about what you have coming up so that I can promote it to the audience.
So I need to define that. I was going to make an attempt to have something this Friday, actually the 4th, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So I'm going to shoot for next week, I want to say whatever that Friday is, the 11th.
Okay.
It is. So I'm going to check with the location where I'd like to have it and see, you know, where they are. It's a cafe. So if the restrictions are lifted and they're able to open up and have limited seating, then I'll be making that announcement, and I'll obviously share it with you so you can share with your audience on where that's going to be. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting the book in more hands of people, women in particular. I mean, there's some amazing stories of courage and perseverance, and that I just think everybody should read, especially during this time. And then, you know, and I appreciate, you know, everything that you guys have done, and those last minute hair appointments helped a lot. I understand we're at different times now, and we have to navigate things a little differently. So appreciate that very much.
Yes, and I appreciate you too. So in the show notes, friends and family who follow my channel, I will put the information about Erika's book signing and all of her contact information. How much is the book, Erika? Are you doing any deals with it? Like, if I buy 10 copies, is there something?
That's a good question. Well, if you mention this video,
okay.
How about that? You mentioned this video, it'll be $20.
Oh, nice.
The book is actually 25, but if you mention this video, it's $20. Yeah, and you can come to the book signing and pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
If I have to ship it out, then it'll be the 25, but $20 if you mention this video.
Okay, and how about this? I will make the my workstation available for pickup of books if people want to. Maybe if there is an issue we need to save on shipping costs, they can direct pay you, but if they want to pick it up from me, I can provide space for a few books at my workstation. And I'm so grateful that you came on. Any last words? Anything else you want to share?
First, I just want to say thank you again to Nature for the opportunity. I think that life is just wonderful. It's an amazing journey. I'm still learning so much, not only about myself, but just about how to better relate to other people. And that's another thing that I enjoy about Golf Teenage is that I get to meet people from all walks of life. And just gives you access to so much information and just how to be a better person. I'd say pick up the book, learn a little bit about me and some others, and let's get through COVID. I don't want to say we're going to get back to normal. I think we're going to have we're going to have a different way of life when we do come out of this. I think a positive way of life, and just just be kinder and gentler and just take better care of ourselves, if nothing else.
Yes. Okay. Well, on that very positive note, thank you, Erika. I look forward to seeing you when I see you, and I will put everything, all the information about getting in touch with you and your book signing or promotional opportunities or events in the show notes. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. You all have a good night. Thank you. Good night. Okay. Be easy. Wait. What's that? What was that?
Swing easy.
Swing easy? Okay.
Swing easy. Yeah, swing easy.
Okay. Swing easy, everybody. All right. Take care. All right.
Okay.
Bye now.
All right.
All right.